Welcome to Jam Sessions backstage at Nova Scotia Music Week 2021. I'm Andrew from Andrew's Alcove and the Second Button Podcast, and with me is a co-host of Jam Sessions,
Darcy Walsh. Hello, hello.
And we have a stalker in the corner.
Ooh, Gavin Maclean. Howdy, everybody. You can call me Gaz if you want, though.
Gavin's our music video specialist and a special co-host for part of the afternoon.
So with us now is Chudi Harris. He's a musician, does vocals, guitar, piano, bass, and a producer from Halifax, Nova Scotia. He writes his own songs and produces his own records. Chudi's style is a mix between modern synth-based R&B and soul, contemporary blues, and now with a strong focus on singer-songwriter.
So, welcome.
What's
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's dope.
When I was looking into you a little bit, I was trying to figure out what I knew you from, because I definitely knew that you were somebody, and I knew that I knew some songs, but I recognized the name.
Yeah, cool.
One thing that I found interesting, I knew you from more of the R&B synth-based sound that you had, and I might be a little wrong here. So 2016 is when you had Canvas. So is that the beginning of you doing stuff?
That was the first EP I ever put out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think I became familiar with you as an artist in around 2017.
Cool.
It would have been, you were featuring some of the stuff for the Halifax Pop Explosion when you were doing the Absolution tour.
Cool. Yeah, I think so.
There was a song that you had out, I'm just trying to think of the name. Heard That Sound?
Yeah, so that was off of my first EP in 2016.
Okay. That song I definitely knew from back in that era because I was at the Pop Explosion, bumming around, checking everyone out.
Doing that stuff, yeah. Funny enough, like, Pop Explosion never actually got me on a stage until 2018.
Yeah.
I moved out of the city for a year, so that's probably half my fault.
Oh, okay.
But I finally applied for the actual festival in 2018.
Okay.
Got on it. But yeah, other than that, like, you know, like it was a lot of growing outside of the scene. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew certain like silos of people, like little groups, subgroups, you know, smaller communities of artists. But like I wasn't like exposed to like the larger artist community until probably 2018-ish.
Okay. Fair enough.
Take.
And then, many of the people we've interviewed, you start getting something good going, you know, where you're heading, and then COVID hit and kind of set things backwards.
Yeah.
So the stuff that you're doing presently, that you're up here, like, are you promoting? I know you had some. You were a hard one to research because every time I read something that was new to me, I'm like, oh, he's a producer too. And then I'm like, oh, he plays guitar. And I had this with one other band too, that I had initial questions. And then when I went back to do a little deeper dive, I answered those with more questions.
Right.
So it was fortunate for me that I was hanging out here the other day and found out I had access to those 5-minute pitch sessions.
Right.
I sat in and saw you play there, and I'm like, oh, good. So this is a really good example of what he's like live when he's not doing the R&B synth thing.
And that's new. It's not that I feel like I'm a broken record. I feel like I've been saying this a couple times.
Oh, I imagine it, by third day.
You know, a lot of people do know me as like more of an R&B style artist, and fair enough. I used to put out a lot of stuff that was in that genre, and the past 10 years, the R&B genre is like, it's not rivaling hip hop or country, but it's like right underneath, in my opinion. Like the Weeknd, Drake was doing R&B stuff. Obviously, the Biebers, like those are 3 Canadian names right there that are like dominating the mainstream music landscape, and they're kind of in that R&B-ish realm with the hip hop. So, you know, naturally, like you grow up in that era, and you're probably going to be influenced by it a little. And I think to an extent, a lot of artists, not just R&B artists, pop artists, some country artists. Maybe not folk artists, I don't know. But some artists are, like a lot of artists are getting influenced by hip hop, R&B style music.
Sure.
So can you classify a lot of stuff as R&B these days? Yeah, like a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'm an R&B artist." It's kind of boring.
Yeah, I don't even like using the genre anymore
no,
as
you
a
can't.
label because even saying it, like in my own, like, I mean, this goes way back years, but my own musical education, like I know that it's rhythm and blues, and I'm like, well, even what we were referring to as R&B 10, 15 years ago, that's not rhythm and blues either. It's just like they took, instead of saying urban, they called it R&B.
Yeah, because urban was uncomfortable.
There's a whole bunch of problems with that. Yeah.
Word. I'm sorry, am I supposed to swear?
Oh, you can. Yeah, you're good. Yeah. If you didn't, you'd be the first clean episode this weekend, I think. Yeah. So there you
That
go.
guy's really clean.
That guy's really clean.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that, and I guess too because what I got into this mindset was that, like, okay, it's the modern era. Like, artists are promoting themselves. They're becoming a solo artist can be their own business. They can run their own business, and I felt like I had to learn that piece. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, like maybe I'll go to Toronto. Maybe there's something I can learn about the industry there that I couldn't in Halifax, and that's not true. In my opinion, like I learned that was, in my opinion, not true. Mm-hmm. But that was my thought, not being somebody who was introduced to the music, just business in general. Yeah. So I went out there and I, tried to learn a little bit more about it. And there's a real saturation in, like, big air quotes, urban, in R&B, in racialized Black music. There is a big saturation, and it's the weird thing is it's not just Black people too. So. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be a Black dude to be an R&B artist. Like, there are R&B artists of all walks of life. There are hip hop artists of all walks of life. And it might have traditionally been a Black cultural genre, and I still think it is. But just because I'm a Black artist doesn't mean I have to be an R&B artist. Doesn't mean I have to be a hip hop artist. I hate when I meet somebody and they know I'm an artist and they're like, "Oh, you're a rapper, right?" I'm like, "No, fuck you, dude. Why do I have to be a rapper?
Yeah. Well,
I
can't rap."
It's so cool because I feel like you are the new generation.
I think so,
it's
right?
Really cool. Like, you and like a lot of people in your like crew embody the like not only did you guys grow up with like R&B and hip hop and
all
stuff, but the internet and alternative, and it's like you see all those things coming together, and it's like all blended, like. Aquakultre too. Like,
I was just gonna say the man.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm not the first person to mention him, but like he definitely like personifies that new shift. You could never put that dude in a box. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't put Lance in a box.
I've been noticing that name popping up a lot.
Well, because he's the man. Like, because he's in my opinion, people like, and there's others that I would put there. T. Thomason.
Yeah.
Like they're saying, like, no, we're gonna just make our own wave. Like, we don't have to follow wants. We don't have to follow like a set.
Yeah, everyone's doing their own thing, and everyone loves what everyone else is doing. As much as putting a genre label is easy to make it accessible to somebody that has no familiarity.
That's what it's for.
Everyone that's here, I don't know anyone that completely identifies with the genre they're being labeled with, and I don't know anyone that only listens to one genre. And that's especially the people that have been in here being interviewed. Yeah. It's like, oh, I play in this band, and I'm friends with this guy, and I was featured on this track, and I produced this for this guy, and I toured this with this guy, and it's all over the board. Yeah. Even though, obviously, for packaging and marketing purposes, it's easier to group people together, and we're going to be guilty of that with this podcast.
Well, you got to quantify stuff. Like, you got to put things in some kind of package.
If we pair things up, they're probably going to be similar. Yeah. But at the end of the day, nobody here really cares about the genre. It really is a marketing tool to say. And I used to work retail, music stores years ago.
Yeah,
so like, I did it all myself, and it got to a point where it was almost like you'd be so specific with your unique genre name that, like, it's a second band name. Like,
that's good.
We've had some real crazy ones come out.
Paul punk hip hop.
Yeah. Well, we had Walter from Hard Ground that was on a while back there. He was talking about his newer projects, and it was Star Wars Porno Grind. Was his genre.
Can you say that one more time?
But
yeah, write that down for us.
Star Wars Porno Grind, and it is a very good description of what they're doing.
Sounds like
It's very unique, but I mean that almost could have been the band name instead of it being the genre.
no,
label.
that definitely could have.
Yeah.
I mean that would have.
It's very unique.
I think with that name.
I don't think there's many people in that category, but it's an example.
It's too close to like Rainbow Butt Monkeys or something.
Yeah.
Just
Exactly.
that guy and
Wars
now me.
porn,
I'm
right?
gonna jump on the train there.
So, do you find? Well, I mean, we just talked about it a little bit, but where you just did your 5-minute pitch as that different version than what people are expecting if they know you. Like you just had a song with the Aquakultre in the summer there that was quite popular, getting a lot of plays.
Yeah, that and the thing too is that like the stuff that we're working on now is it's not, people aren't going to be able to say like, oh damn, like yeah, that sounds like an Aquakultre song, or that sounds like a Chudi Harris song, or I guess I should only speak for myself, but like at least the stuff that I'm going to put out in the next 6 months,
It's a little different.
if people know my stuff, it's not going to be that. So
Oh, there you go. Just challenging the expectations a little
exactly, and that's the whole point. Like that's how the people in my community work. Like we're creatives to the fullest. Like we're not trying to be put in a box because we're racialized. Like, oh, okay, well, yeah, racialized people have cultural music, but that doesn't mean we're going to put ourselves in that box.
bit. Yeah.
Absolutely. We can diversify our music. We can get on stage with a guitar. Like, come check me on stage with guitar and or playing some keys. I played at the Marigold on Thursday night.
Yep.
And so I've been working with Sherry Jones, and she's been, essentially, being my man, kind of my manager.
Yep.
But to the extent that she's more developing me, because I'm on more of a development state. That's where my stage is right now, right?
Yep.
Maybe she's not going to send me to Toronto for a but I think I'm at the point where I can take a next step.
Yeah, Sherry's one of those people that, from what I've been involved, not just this weekend, but like since I've been following Music Nova Scotia stuff and doing some courses, that's the name that keeps floating up. As
Sherry.
everyone's like, she's
She's been involved.
she's like the godmother of the music community in Nova Scotia. Like everyone knows her and worked
honestly,
with her at some point. And she helped.
If she's taking interest, like when I got to know Sherry and she started taking, like, I just opened my book and I started taking notes. Like where can I get better? Where do you think what mistakes have I made? What have I done well? What should I kind of hammer on more? Anyway, where I was going with was this past Sunday, I'm at Rockopolis. Shout out to Pete at Rockopolis, who stayed late many nights the past couple weeks to let me jam.
That's my old work.
Yeah, Pete's the
awesome.
man.
It was the
Like
rocker.
Rockopolis has been supporting me and my band for many years. He might not have known us, but like he's been the man. So shout out Pete, Rockopolis. We were over there jamming, getting ready. I was getting ready for this show, and I had Sherry and Wayne O'Connor come through and check out the show. Or check out my set, and okay, what do you guys think? Like, am I going to be ready for the Marigold on Thursday night? And basically, they said, like, listen, the Marigold is quiet, it's dark, people are going to be listening. Usually, I get on stage with a track. Sometimes, usually, I like my preference is to have the band, maybe have a DJ. She said, like, you got a great voice, get up there with your guitar, play some keys, go, like, take the track out. It'll be way more impactful. People are going to listen.
Yeah, it's more like a theater house, so you're getting
I'm not
that
used
different
to,
acoustical level.
like if I got to pick a stage, it would be the Seahorse, like a lot of people, right? Like that's home stage for a lot of people in the city. So that's what we're used to. And,
Yeah, because Seahorse is,
louder,
and they were actually got brought up earlier, but that's like a crank it, just churn it up, and it's gonna sound good
and rock,
yeah.
And that's where your comfort zone gets, but. Yeah, I took their advice, and it took me a lot of practice and getting myself hyped up for it. But I think people really responded well to the show, and it's just going to kind of probably like lead me to do more of that kind of stuff, right? Awesome. Like some more stripped down, a little bit less of the production and all that.
If I'm sitting down watching, I think a backing track, if I'm just sitting there watching a performance, takes me out of it.
It does.
But if you're
I've heard it.
if you're on a floor, then you don't notice as much as enjoy the groove, right? So yeah.
Yeah, we had the first interview we did this weekend was young guys, Ate and Jax.
Yeah.
So very catchy stuff they have out, and they're very funny in their videos and stuff, and they're very charismatic fellows and everything. But I didn't bother talking about it when they were here. They might have referenced it, but when I found out that they played with live instruments, I was like, oh, that's freaking awesome. Yeah. And then I saw a video of them doing, like, they had like a light show thing and they were rapping over top of a pre-recorded track. And I'm like, I don't like them as much as I liked them 5 minutes ago. But when I listened to their albums and their fully produced stuff, I was like,
fantastic.
It's awesome.
Of course. But
to watch them live, I want to see a live band.
It's it's a struggle.
It's got to be hard, right?
I'll tell you what, So, growing up, I was definitely, I was a diverse listener, but like the first record I ever listened to was like Boyz II Men 2.
Yeah.
And then it was a Gorillaz record. Then it was a Black Eyed Peas record. Then it was Exhibit. Mm-hmm. Then it was like Green Day. Then it was Foo Fighters. Then it was it started to build, so that influenced my music taste. So like when I started playing in bands, and not in bands that were like in the city performing, but just like in people's garages, they were more punk rock type bands.
Yeah.
And I wasn't singing; I was just playing guitar. I didn't take any singing lessons growing up, like nothing like that. Eventually, I just kind of decided that I wanted to take it to the next step, and that's when I said, "Okay, I guess I got to start singing."
Yeah.
Just kind of started singing in the shower and.
Setting up you wouldn't have any idea that you didn't have experience. It sounds like you're a lifelong singer. It really does.
I appreciate that.
That's
definitely not.
It's obviously not. My playlist is not full of R&B stuff, but I'm of an age where I've heard so many mainstream ones over the years that I definitely could fill a playlist. Yeah. And I mean, your stuff's on par with anything else that I'm familiar with. And I remembered that when I was at the Pop Explosion, I heard your song everywhere that weekend.
Really?
It was weird.
That's weird. I didn't know.
It was weird because I knew you didn't perform.
Yeah, I didn't.
Because I was going everywhere. And
you never
it was
told
like,
me that too.
It's like it was being shoved down my throat that weekend. But I liked it. I liked it. But
holy shit.
When I was going through notes for this after Sherry contacted me, I'm like, geez, I know him. What do I know him from? No one, and found that song, and I'm like, oh, I know that song. I was like, I couldn't stop hearing it back then.
That's insane. I literally had no. Yeah. I don't think I was. You said it was the which
I was one? Halifax Pop Explosion.
2016 or 17.
17. So
I literally lived. I lived in Toronto. I was not there for.
Oh really?
I wasn't even.
It must have been radio player something that was something parallel that I was just hearing it everywhere. Maybe it was. Sticking out more because I was paying so much attention to the people showcased. And I'm like, well, who's this other local guy that I keep hearing?
That's weird.
Why can't I go see him play? I can see all these bands from Ontario, but they're saying this guy's from here, and I can't see him play.
It's funny because you bring up Pop Explosion, and you never know what people's reaction. Some people want to puke when you say that name. But I'll tell you what, I've dealt with them a lot. I dealt with them in the past a lot. Apparently, it started in 2017. Didn't know that. Thanks for telling me. That's cool. I think the first time I was on a stage with their name on it was when I opened for Rich. He did Rich Acoin did some kind of single release or album release or something like that. And then in 2018, that's when they had me on at part of the festival. Okay. So I think what was that? I don't remember when. Opened for Born Ruffians.
Oh, okay.
Marquee, which was dope. I'd never played the Marquee, and opening for a fairly decent sized band was cool. I don't know if a lot of people saw our set, but we were there. So, and then funny enough, the reason I went to Toronto was to kind of learn the industry stuff. So I ended up going to school, did some interning with Factor, started to work the door at some of the venues and get to know the promoter, just to get used to it. Ended up leaving after a year, but one of the big things I came back with was a resume of music business stuff. So Pop Explosion was obviously looking for their JCPs, and I decided I'd apply and became the festival coordinator for that last year. So that was the 2019.
Oh, that's cool.
The Japanese Breakfast year where they had the Arkels and Mother and those guys. So it was really dope to work in the office, see how to run it, how people, when people are booking people for festivals, how does that work? So I tried, I quote unquote pulling the curtain back a little and seeing the inside of it. So, but I don't know. I feel like there's anyway. There's a level of that stuff that people might be missing. I won't go. I'm not going to go too much.
Is there a thing that like surprised you the most about pulling back the curtain and like
how
when
that
you saw
works?
behind the curtain? Like, what was it that like? You were like,
Was there anyone not wearing pants when you pulled back the curtain?
a couple people in there, pantsless, in public.
Like, is there a lesson that you can?
I don't know, because it was such a, like, it was weird because, obviously we all know that we don't have to go into the history of it. We all lived through that and saw it. But, like, that still lingered a lot. And, like, I come from a community where a lot of people were hurt. A lot of people were hurt, and that, I know a lot of those people who were part of that, and they were hurt. And so our community was hurt. And so I'm not going to lie, I came in there saying, like, hey, you think I could be a bridge to this? Like, you think... I don't think that was my role, and I quickly realized that, no, I think I just got to come in here and learn and then kind of take what I kind of learned. But ideally, like, the big thing I learned is that that there are definitely things you need to know to get on festivals.
Yeah.
They're, like, as the artist, I'm not saying, like people think that, if I just do, if I have one song that's, like, some people will get a song that's got a lot of play. Or something like that, and then they'll apply for these festivals, and then and they'll get upset, or they'll send an email and say, like, "Hey, why didn't I get on this festival? Look at all these numbers, and look at all this and this." Like, there are mandates for festivals. There are things that they're looking for out of festival artists, and maybe this is more of an opinion for me.
Yeah,
but like that's what I took away from it, and I feel like I learned more what I need to do to get on a festival. That's basically what I learned. If I'm an artist, a solo artist applying, it might be different if you're, somebody's manager or something. But if you're a solo artist trying to get on a festival, like, the first thing I would probably do is, like, reach out to the festival.
Yeah, you need to start
talk to the festival and know what they're looking with.
Yeah.
Like, if they know you, like, that's the funny thing about you saying that Pop Explosion was playing me in 2017, because, like, I didn't know James or any of those guys, whoever was doing it.
Yeah.
I didn't know them personally. Like, but, maybe I met them or made a connection with them, or maybe I played a show and they were there, or somebody on my behalf was saying, like, if they know you, even if you're not doing XYZ, you might be more likely to get on a festival. Yeah. Sometimes but that you can say that about anything, right? If, who you know.
Sure.
But, like, you can be an unknown, like, there were unknown acts from out West who, like, maybe they might have not got on an equivalent festival out West, maybe. But we put them on on that year's festival because, maybe they fit XYZ criteria, or maybe when they applied, they had this, and this, and that's exactly what we needed to say. This is going to fit this stage. That kind of stuff. Like, I think it's just preparation. That's what I'm learning the most about learning the bit.
Yeah, knowing what it is they're looking for, and making sure that when they're looking, they know that you're one of those people that they're looking for. Like, they're like, I need somebody that does this. He does that. Yeah. I remember from the other day, or last week, or last year, and so that's who I'm going to call.
I just think that there's like I don't want to call it ignorance, but a lot of independent art there's a bit of ignorance there, because like you get some clout, maybe, or some people prop you up or whatever, and then you get your head big, and you're Mr. Indie in whatever town, and you think you're the fucking best and whatever. Well, but then you apply for stuff, and people are like, no, and the gatekeepers are like, nah, and then these people are like, meh. And it's like, wait, what am I doing wrong? Look at all this. I was like, no, but there's levels to this shit, bro.
Yeah.
Like, there are things you need to do. Like,
do you think, like, part of it is the way that kids and young people are talked to about the industry and how the industry is presented sometimes? Because I feel like my ignorance coming up was because when I was coming up, and again, different generation too, because I'm older, but music was always talked about, especially the artist was always talked about this magical way, and they were like almost like, this glowing thing that you like.
Oh yeah, that's
would
what we all
magically aspire to.
Yeah.
But now I feel like because of social media and stuff, you see the artists like. And it doesn't seem as impossible. Yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think it's like when we were growing up. The goal was getting signed, and it was like, if you get signed, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you weren't known until you got to that point, it seemed like. Whereas now...
It was like a bottle, and then you hit it, and then...
Yeah.
Or what do they call that? Yeah.
Today you can make a fake profile probably and become popular without even making music.
No, you are. Yeah,
you
people
could.
do that. Yeah, for sure. I wonder if, like, I don't know, if at some point you have to, like... Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. I think at some point, like, you hit a screen, like, okay, you know what? This is what I was actually thinking. I heard something that, back in the day, like, people would have to get, well, obviously, like, fan mail, for example. So if you're a big artist or, like, a big celebrity, the only way that people could reach out to you was through fan mail. There was a wall. Like, there was no, oh, send them an instant DM or comment on their whatever, or, there's nothing, like, there's no direct contact. So that's what that's what that got me reminded of, is like, the superstar artist used to be like, it was like a god. Like, we couldn't even, like, if you saw a celebrity in person, like, holy shit, I saw a celebrity in person. Yeah. Now we can literally track their every movement. We know where you are, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
We know where you are.
Danko Jones, I really like
Yeah.
Danko Jones. I comment on his Twitter and he comments back.
Exactly.
Like every time.
Exactly.
He was like,
And
no,
the
so it's not
flip
like
side
this
of that-
superstar
Yeah.
anymore.
So I think that's why people get that mentality that you're thinking of, is because now it's like that it feels like that level is right in front of us. It feels like that person is our best friend.
Right.
And maybe they could be a friend of yours. Like, I've known friends of mine who just randomly start DMing people in bands, and then they have real conversations with them, like real talk.
Well, even for us being around here, like, I know I'm from Nova Scotia, and this is Nova Scotia, so obviously there's going to be a little bias. But I do feel like I'm walking around seeing celebrities all weekend because I'm recognizing these songs, I'm recognizing people's faces, and because of the technology where it's at, I'm not reading a magazine article from 6 months ago. Yeah. I'm reading an interview you did with someone yesterday and one that you did 10 years ago. And I have such a good picture of who somebody is as a person behind the art that by the time I sit down in front of them, 9 times out of 10, I'm saying, hey, Chudi, how you doing? Yeah. And I'm talking to you about, like, Andrew made a joke at the beginning before we started recording. We get personal details and everything, and you say something, like, you almost feel like you are friends with the person before you ever met them.
If you want to say hi to Emma, go ahead. She'll probably listen.
Emma, thanks for outing my PT Cruiser. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well.
There you go.
But yeah, you know what I was talking to somebody earlier today about is that one of the best things about this week has been meeting people who I feel like I know from social media. And like, I'm not people who kind of know me will know I'm not a social media guy. Like, find it very hard to post on social media. I got the anxiety, I got the sweats, all of it, whatever. But I do try to keep track on what other local artists. So generally speaking, I'll follow artists that I know or that I'm familiar with or that I want to keep up with or something like that. So we're keeping up with people and seeing what they're doing. Some people are going out of town for stuff. Some people are still in town, but the cool thing has been, running into people that like, yo, I've been following you for 3 years.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like I've met you before. I feel like I know you, but I've never met you. Dope to meet you finally.
Yeah, I actually just met a fan of the podcast the other night works at a radio station in Amherst. And I'm like, I had no idea.
That's so dope.
And it was just, that's a smaller connection, but I can only imagine at your level the type of connections that you might end up making where you're following industry people and then they're in front of you.
And then you're,
and I'm sure it's the same back. They're like, oh, look, there's Chudi.
I haven't seen Gavin in 20 years.
Yeah, that's probably right.
God, seriously.
Yeah, we're in the same province, but never spend any time together.
Pandemic for 2 years and continuing, I guess.
Gotta get it going. It's true.
So what's next for you? Like, do you have, like, where you're doing a little bit, or do you have a full album type thing? Or with digital stuff, it's completely different?
Yeah. And I will say, like, I've been talking a lot about this and that and ignorance and blah, blah. It's not to say, like, I've transcended.
No.
I am very much in the muck with everybody else, and I'm trying to get my hands dirty and learn and grow. Like, that's just where I'm at now. Like, I'm at the stage where I'm realizing all the stuff I did wrong, or I'm starting to, and I'm like, starting to chink off that armor and that ego and all that bullshit, like, and to deflate my head if it was ever inflated, and like say, okay, no, I got growth. And the great thing is that I got to, in my opinion, I got to see a lot of, not just in Halifax, but in Nova Scotia as a province. We are a music province. We are a town,
absolutely.
And not just like, here's my great song. Get on, like, watch us on stage.
Right.
There's nothing like a Halifax
It's
live
like our
performance. You know,
everyone knows the Nova Scotia kitchen parties.
Yeah.
Like that's not exclusive to folk. That if you're gonna have a weekend where you're belting out 80s metal or 90s rap, it doesn't matter. You're in the kitchen having a beer with your buddies, and the music's loud, and people are having a good time. It's everywhere, every genre. Kitchen parties are where it's at, and they're all centered around music, even if you don't drink.
Yeah,
and they bring that to the bar.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Warm up party.
I guess like where I'm going now is kind of starting in small bits. So obviously we're like the modern era. They say people have no attention span. I don't think that's true. This is the podcast era. How do we have no attention span when we're now listening to hour-long podcasts?
Exactly.
What are we talking about?
Well, I'd even blame the little one here of not having attention span, but she's been here for, this is interview 6 or, is it 6 of the day?
I think it's 7, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like 6 or 7 hours. She's been hanging out here listening to musicians talk, and she's not bored yet. She's still with it.
So
I
don't.
Raddest people on the planet.
Yes,
exactly. I don't. She's like, well, I'm a little bored, but whatever. It's all good. But yeah, so I've thought about how people are releasing music now, and it's more single based, and it's smaller pieces, and let's market the single for a month, and then give it a break, and then we'll market another single 2 months later, and like that doesn't feel like me. But I don't know. Maybe.
It would lend itself out of the fact that you produce stuff and collaborate with other people, and that you're genre crossing.
Yeah. So that's where my head is. That's where I'm heading now. I'm heading towards like starting small. Like let's start, because to be honest, 2017 for a while was the last time I put out a true EP. I put out 3 EPs between 2016 and end of 2017, and then in 2021 or 2020, whenever I put out that summer song with Lance, with Aquakultre. And those were my releases. Like I didn't have a consistent release schedule for about 3 years. I didn't have anything going on.
Okay.
I might've been playing some shows here or there, but like it wasn't really like, I wasn't like part of the scene. I didn't feel like I was part of it.
Did you want to do that, or did that just happen?
Well, there's a lot of reasons, but like I couldn't. I didn't feel like I was ready. And like I said, like I felt like I was trying to pull back the curtain, and it kind of scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, I'm obviously not ready. Like I'm seeing all these people who I, for a while, considered my peers who are doing all these great shit. And I'm like, well, no, I don't feel like I'm ready to do that. Like I don't feel like I'm at that point. And so I felt like I needed to take a step back. And like I said, chink off some of that ego and some of that stuff, and like be more ready to like take criticism when somebody says like, oh, like I think you need to take your hood off on stage because that's something Adam told me. Adam Warren once, first time he ever saw me play, he said, you guys were great. Your band was good. You were obviously great, but you felt like you were scared on stage. You had your hood up, and I, for a while, I kind of disagreed with him, but then I was like, yeah, no, that's stupid. Why would you I'm not a rapper. I'm not going to wear a hood on stage. When rappers don't do that.
I'm actually funny. It's funny that you've mentioned who it is, because as I'm getting to know some of these people that Gavin's been talking about for ages, I'm starting to realize that even though I've always known these people as like independent local artists, they're very good at exactly that type of comment where they know how an image works and they know what doesn't work. Yeah. And everyone's doing DIY, so it's like, yeah, do whatever you want, and everybody's cool with it. But then if you're asking for advice, you're getting good actual feedback.
And that's what people need. Like, I don't need yes men. I've been saying, I feel like I'm a rope rapper this weekend, but I don't need yes men. I hate people who will just say that that was a great performance. Oh, your voice is so great. Yeah, I know what my voice sounds like. That doesn't mean my performance was perfect. Like, tell me what I can do better.
Yeah, so I don't ask people, I mean, it's a completely different level, but I don't ask people about this anymore because I know that the people that listen to the podcast that like it, they're not my friends and family. And if I ask my friends and family, they either are going to lie because they haven't listened to it at all.
Exactly.
Or they're going to tell me I did a good job, and then it's not going to go any further than the word good.
Your voice could use some work.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
So I could definitely identify with it. And a lot of the themes this whole weekend with all the interviewing, it's been a lot of recurring themes, even though everybody's bringing something different to the table. Everyone's going through that same experience, and we keep talking about that. There is something emerging out of COVID here. There's really, everybody can feel it.
Yeah, there's an energy.
Everybody's coming in here with the same vibe.
Huge groundswell, it feels like I feel Nova Scotia's just about to explode.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying. Everybody's saying the same
Everyone seems
stuff.
to think like there's this emergence coming out of COVID, and everyone
so
seems to want
excited.
to. It seems like everyone wants to put an album together and put out that full album, full package like we grew up on, but they all know that that's not the way, and they're just sliding out a single.
It's like
at a time
COVID
kind of thing.
gave everybody the opportunity to sit back, reflect, and go, okay, you know what? This really sucks, but the world's not going to end. It's just going to be different. And part of it being different is that music works different. Like the internet's more important. Using apps can be addictive, but is not a waste of your time. It's meant to be more efficient and give you more opportunities to be exposed to more things. And that includes music. So we got to work all that stuff together.
Middle-aged white guys find time podcasting.
Middle-aged white guys find a time to go around and interview musicians instead of just sitting at the show and then pointing at them.
Yeah, it's so long story short, my plan is in the next 6 months to release probably two or three singles.
Cool.
Try to market the hell out of them, whatever that means. I don't know. Sherry's going to handle that.
Yeah.
I can trust you. That's the great thing about now I'm working with Sherry. Like I've never had somebody invest in my music and that. Like I've had a lot of people, I've been fortunate who have invested their time and their effort coming to shows or working with me or whatever. And I appreciate you guys. Like, you know that. But like, you know, when you got a Sherry Jones in your corner, you got that. You can feel that juice. You feel that juice.
She's doing that push for you.
You know, and I know that she's got the experience, she's got the know-how and the network and like, you know, I'm feeling like, okay, now that I know where I need to go and I feel like I know where I want to go, I'm starting to try to build the people that are going to help me get there. And I'm feeling comfortable in the next year or two that I'll be able to take like a step, in my opinion. I don't know what that's going to look like. I'm not trying to like quantify the success into like numbers or streams.
And
or
I'm assuming everything you're saying is 100% accurate because all the names that you're naming, I'm aware of who all these people are and who's working with you. It just like, it's not like I'm an industry person. I'm just a fan. But when I talk to everyone, you get different levels of, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know any of the people you're talking about, but I liked that song I heard. Or, oh yeah, I'm aware of some of the people you worked with, so I see the relation. But like every name you're dropping is familiar. It's not the synth pop stuff is not. And I said pop instead of R&B because I put you right in there with the rest of it.
I was saying somebody earlier. I should
It's
be a
the
pop,
synth
that's what I am.
sound.
Yeah.
So I don't gravitate towards that all the time. I'll listen to it in the car. If it's on the radio, I never turn it off. I like it. But if I'm going to hunt down songs and all that, so digging into your stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm not oblivious to what he does. I'm actually aware of what he's doing. And he has a new thing that he's doing too that's really cool and well-rounded. So
Cool, man.
I'm really excited to see what else you have coming out.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm actually writing the new songs with Carlton Stone too from Portuguese.
Oh, cool,
I
yeah.
went up to Cape Breton a couple weeks ago.
Awesome.
Nice.
Started working on. We've got two that we're working on. So look out for it.
He's going to be a good guy. I did some of the Music Nova Scotia basic training courses that he offered too.
He's one of the best songwriters, I think, in the country. In my opinion, like if you're looking to get a good sounding song, like go to Carlton. He's the man. So,
Awesome.
So I'm super excited for what's coming out. You guys can follow me on social media. I'm going to try to post more, I promise.
Yeah.
Instagram, Chudi Harris, Facebook, wherever.
And we'll
Spotify,
throw some
listen to
links
me.
in the show notes,
Appreciate it,
so
guys.
anyone listening can just scroll down. If you're listening right now, scroll down. There should be some hyperlinks there, and you can check them out, follow them, subscribe to anything that's available there. And
Find me.
yeah,
Did
absolutely.
we ask if you have any shows coming up after this?
Yeah.
Ooh, do I have shows? So the very next one that is ready. So I'm fortunate enough to be playing for the TD Connected series.
Okay.
It's sponsored by TD Canada and Canadian Music Incubator. Essentially, what it is they're getting artists from across the country to perform in a space in their community that means either something to them culturally to their community,
cool.
something valuable, a space that's not your typical performance. So like if they, the Halifax Arts, like we're not going to be at the Seahorse, like, it might be significant, but like it's a traditional venue. So places that aren't traditional music venues that, kind of keep you outside of it. And then there'll be an interview portion, the performance portion, you record it, and then they're going to like air a couple artists every week. They've already started airing artists. So if you go, I think you probably just search up CMI, Canadian Music Incubator, would be your best bet on Instagram or YouTube, or on Instagram or Facebook. But yeah, I will be doing that. So will another fellow local artist, Masuma Khan,
Are they doing all that out of Halifax, or is it all at every province?
Every province. So they essentially picked a couple artists from each province.
Cool.
They reached out to a couple. So, there's only, from Nova Scotia, there's only 3 of us. So there's myself, General Khan, the rapper, one of the dopest rappers from Halifax. And then another dope rapper from Cape Breton, shifting from the 902.
Oh, I know him
Shift,
for sure. The other name, I'm familiar with the name, but Shift I'm familiar with.
Yeah. So the 3 of us were picked from the Nova Scotia. I mean, I don't know how they picked us, but they reached out to us and said, "You guys want to do this Connect series?" So
cool.
Masum and I will be doing ours at Alter Ego's Backpackers and Cafe, which is a community hub in the North End that a lot of racialized artists come together and work together and grow and all that stuff. So we're going to be shooting it there, and we'll have a lot to say about it. But January is when that's coming out. So
awesome. Yeah, definitely go check that out.
January, end of January. Anyway, you'll check. So follow me on socials.
We'll look it up.
Well,
the fans of the episode here should check it all out too, and we'll post something closer to and just give a little nudge out there. We've done that with other artists too. It's always awesome because then we get to talk to our fans when we run into them about, did you see that thing online that he was talking about? It was fucking awesome. So yeah.
Dope. Well, thank you guys for having me. This is so fun.
Well, thanks for coming down, and thank you all listeners for listening to our jam sessions backstage.
Oh, just before you do a final sign up, what would you like us to add to the end so that when he's done with the outro, we'll slide into a song? We'll just tag it right on to the end of the audio.
Oh, like one of my songs?
Yeah.
Should I do Heard That?
Well,
let's do some. I just put out a song with Aquakultre. It's called Summer Night Songs.
Yeah, I get that here.
Let's do that one. It's a nice summery tune.
Actually, we could put both.
Chilly. Yeah, let's do Summer and Heard That song.
Okay. Excellent. That's what we'll do.
Cool.
All right.
There we go. Thank you, Gavin, for sitting in.
Oh.
Or you're welcome for sitting in, or whatever.
You're welcome.
He's both welcome and thank.
All right. Everyone have a good night.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye for now.
that you know me, know me, know me, know me. I'ma run away from the old me. All I wanna hear is the sound. Hide your face and swear that you know me, know me, know me, know me. Just pushing down on me. The weight of life is just pushing down on me. And I cannot pretend to forgive myself again. You know I leave my heart out on that strip, 'cause that's the price of paying for your love. So don't put all this pressure on me. Work it, baby, work it, baby. Don't put